It's 30 minutes past the hour 6. You're live here on GHOne TV. I'm Natalie Fort. It's time for News Tonight. A look at our top stories. Coming up this evening, with 18 days left for the December 7th elections, the opposition NDC is accusing the governing MPP of conniving with the commanding officer for the Central Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Michael Opoku, to rig the polls.
The IG and the Election Security Task Force must get to the bottom of this election rigging plot and stop Brigadier General Opoku and his thugs from embarking on another Techiman-styled killing.
Meanwhile, the governing MPP's flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has rounded up his tour of the Ashanti region with a call on the people to give him their mandate.
Mama mitubi no munyina behu ifie na idua enye obi a na obeka nchire mo munyina behu beba be.
Also ahead, President Nana Akufo-Addo commissions 285 million cedis Spintex flower pot flyover. And ahead in business, group appeals for a reduction in the interest on loans for rice farmers. Bring you the details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight. Tuesday. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV all across the world. Our bulletin streams live on Facebook and X at GHOne TV. Now, we remain your election hub with just 18 days to the 2024 general elections. We get started with Insight. Let's get started now, as the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has leveled serious accusations against the General Officer commanding of the Central Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Michael Opoku, of conniving with the governing New Patriotic Party MPP to rig and unleash violence in the upcoming elections. The NDC's allegations has sparked debate on the political landscape, with calls by the NDC for a thorough investigation and removal of Brigadier General Michael Opoku. Here's the National Communications Officer of the opposition NDC addressing the press.
General Opoku has been mandated by President Akufo-Addo to take charge of a well-crafted scheme that has been designed by the MPP to rig the upcoming elections, particularly in the Ashanti region. Through ballot stuffing, swapping of ballot boxes, swapping of pink sheets, and other clandestine activities, starting with a special voting exercise scheduled for December 2nd of this year. Per our credible intel, Brigadier General Opoku's residence in Kumasi is currently the storage facility of weapons, illegally printed ballot papers, military apparels, and other election materials, which the MPP intends to use to execute this dastardly and subversive agenda. So we are calling on the Inspector General of Police, who is the chairman of the Election Security Task Force, not to allow any persons to usurp his authority. The IGP and the Election Security Task Force must get to the bottom of this election rigging plot and stop Brigadier General Opoku and his thugs from embarking on another Techiman-styled killings.
Now, let's stay on this issue. My colleague, Gobed King Obed, was at the press conference, and he joins now in studio with more on this. Obed, it's good to have you in studio. Now, very harsh claims being made by Sammy Gyamfi of the NDC. What history would you say we have of Brigadier Opoku that sort of justifies these claims that are being made?
Right. So, Natalie, Brigadier General Opoku was the man in charge of operations at the National Security. If you remember the IAS West Wagon by-elections and the violence that occurred, and the issue went to the MOY's commission, and there were recommendations that he be reprimanded. But we have it that the president elevated him to be a brigadier general, and also the man in charge of the Ashanti region, that is the command. The allegations are that he's connived with the New Patriotic Party to unleash violence ahead of the 2024 elections. The NDC is alleging that his residence in the Ashanti region is a storehouse for military equipment, apparels, and that they've picked information that is the plots they are orchestrating to unleash come December 2024.
Now, yes, the history provided does give a bit of, put it in context, where the NDC's claim might be coming from. But in addition to this, was there any solid evidence provided by the NDC as it pertains to these claims?
That question was asked there by journalists as to what evidence the NDC has about the claims they are making. And the National Communications Officer of the party said that per the history that they gave us with Brigadier General Opoku, they believe that the intelligence they've picked up collaborates with the history that they have. And so they are calling on the IGP, they are calling on the CDS to investigate the matter. They say that when you go to the Ashanti region, Brigadier General Opoku is known to openly seeking funds for the New Patriotic Party, and so they believe that with that, the intelligence they've picked that he is in bed with the New Patriotic Party to unleash violence with thugs during the elections is true. And
they're specifically calling for his resignation.
Certainly so.
What are the other steps that they're likely to take, given that these calls may not be heeded to?
Yeah, because he's stationed in the Ashanti region, they say they are going to also petition the Otunfo Setutu, the king of Ashanti, to make sure that he is removed so that there will be peace during the elections, so that there will be no violence in the Ashanti region. So these are the steps they say they are going to take. But apart from that, they are also saying that for them, if Brigadier General Opoku is still opposed, then they will advise themselves. So I don't know what that means.
What exactly that looks like.
Those are the words of Sammy Gyamfi and the national.
They will advise themselves going into the elections.
Certainly.
But they didn't expand on that in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, very strong claims being made, which we'll certainly be probing a lot further here on News Tonight. Thank you so much for sharing details there. He was at the press conference, Obed King Gaglo, my colleague. Now, meanwhile, polling agent supervisor of the opposition party, Richard Jakpa, says they will ensure that the rigging strategy of the governing NPP is thwarted in the Ashanti region. He's been speaking to GHOne TV.
Have always been artificial. That over 70% turnout is artificial. It's because they've been cooking the figures. They've been stuffing the ballot boxes. But this time round, they will not hit the 70%, let alone cross the 70%. Giving confidence to our polling agents, opening their eyes to the rigging techniques, and indulging the voter population to also be vigilant at the various polling station and making them aware how the game is played. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is confidence. And once it is given to the voting populace and our polling agents, I can assure you that 70% and over turnout percentage will not happen this time around. They will be around 50s and 60s, early 60%. They will not even cross 65%, let alone to hit that 70%.
Well, Akbar Yusuf Khomeini is the Deputy Communications Director for the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia campaign, and he joins us via phone now for a response to these claims from the opposition NDC. He joins us via Zoom, that is. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, as you know, the NDC says that your party is conniving with the general officer commanding the Central Command of the Ghana Armed Forces in the person of Brigadier General Michael Opoku, specifically to rig the December polls through unleashing a measure of violence. What's your response to this claim?
Well, the claim, I would say simply, is fake, because anybody who has followed elections in Ghana would have no difficulty in admitting that the Electoral Commission of Ghana runs one of the most transparent and credible elections in the world, not just in Africa. And I'm struggling, and the Bawumia campaign is struggling to understand how one military officer is capable of rigging elections in favor of the New Patriotic Party. I mean, that is not, something that can happen, because the political parties, independent election observers, are all involved in the process of our elections, right away from the printing of ballot boxes, all the way to when the first ballot is cast, all the way to counting and declaration. At every stage of the electoral process, political parties are represented and they are free to exercise their views and make objections where necessary. So I cannot really understand that how an individual military officer is capable of rigging the election. Look, the reality is dawning on them. They're beginning to sense that Dr. Bawumia and the NPP are going to win the election. And so this allegation is part of a comprehensive design strategy that they have to mobilize their supporters to reject the outcome of the December election, citing rigging. Because you see, they started off this campaign believing that the election was in the bag and that they had already won the elections. 18 days to elections, the reality is dawning on them that they are going to lose the elections and that the NPP is set to make history in December. So all what they're doing now is to, attempt to taint the impending victory of the New Patriotic Party. But the Ghanaian people who have been active participants of our election process since 1992 would dismiss these claims as unfounded. Indeed, as your reporter said, he was asked to support his claims with evidence. He failed. I mean, so if you don't have any evidence... I mean,
he didn't provide any concrete evidence aside running through his professional history and why he believes that sort of justifies these claims being made. That's as much evidence as was provided. His professional history has no relationship at all to elections. First of all, he's not an election officer. 1. 2, he's not an officer in charge of deployment of military. And he doesn't command the military to act according to his whims. The military has a professional standard operating procedure. And so it is
completely false to say that one military officer is capable of rigging an election in favor of the new. Where would the NDC polling agents be? Where would their supporters be? For one military officer to be able to rig the elections for the New Patriotic Party. I am telling you that Dr. Bawumia has worked so hard in this campaign. His message has resonated positively across the country. I mean, his hard work is evident. And any sincere observer will tell you that in any election in this country, the NPP is closer to winning that election than the National Democratic Congress. That reality is beginning to dawn on them, and all what they are doing is seeking to undermine the integrity of the outcome of the election and to use that as basis to mobilize their supporters to reject the NPP's impending victory. But the Ghanaian people are going to follow through the process to ensure that the process is free, is transparent, and whoever the Electoral Commission would be declared as winner will take over government on the 7th of January 2025. And we have absolutely no doubt that it is going to be Dr. Bawumia. And these claims of rigging are not supported by any concrete evidence.
Now, with that being said, another claim that the NDC has made is that the percentages garnered by the MPP in the Ashanti region are usually artificial, somewhat massaged. What's your response to this claim?
I was listening to Richard Japa, and it is clear that he has not followed Ghana's elections, and he has not paid attention to the data. He said that the NPP cannot do more than 50% this year. That's ridiculous. Anybody who has followed politics in Ghana since 1992 will tell you that in any election, the NPP has always done not less than 70%. I mean, the numbers are there. The electoral register is there. The number of valid votes, election upon election, is there. And so for anybody to say that the NPP cannot even do 50% in this election, clearly, that person is ignorant as far as elections in this country is concerned. And we've got to dismiss their views entirely.
Well, let's round it up here. Thank you for speaking with us. Akbar Kamena, the Deputy Communications Director for the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia campaign, joining us on that issue. Well, let's turn to some other news this evening. Flag bearer of the governing MPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has concluded his campaign tour of the Ashanti region with a call on the people in that area to give him their mandate in the December polls. Dr. Bawumia's tour of the region saw him engaging traditional rulers, the clergy, identifiable groups, and party supporters, where he sold his possibilities message to them. There's more in this report.
The MPP flag bearer toured all 47 constituencies where he's open to reclaim some parliamentary seats lost to the opposition NDC in the 2020 elections and also increase the vote margin in the area to more than 75%. He engaged traditional rulers, the clergy, and identifiable groups, most of whom showered him with praises for what they describe as his humility and hard work.
Do some free HSI by here, Ghana for can once a baby. Sabi, me go to Sikama, my man, let me jump off as for that baby. And so, in the Yamadum, a coba said, no, as a fool, Memo, Omina baby, so Omungo school, no qua. I said, was a conto. On pay when up at the henny. And to me, I may say, I'm a Bushafuan and my was a little about me. So, one now, my was Omopena, Montemamon, you must go.
Afi we say about the 4th industrial revolution. Okasa asa na metra na me say am papa pay ono ne Ghana de hia no. Na me bete it is possible na say possibility heaven's language or soro kasa. Me yourself tinam ga obi o ka possible bia no osoro kasa.
The flag bearer also engaged traders in markets as he shared his message of possibilities with them. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, during his 15-day campaign in the region, considered the stronghold of the governing MPP, shared his plans for the energy sector, mining sector, security, among others.
Crowfrom market no yebeye amamo yebeye crowfrom market no amamo munjai entumisem meba meye market yi amamo yebeye ejuma.
He did not stop taunting his contender John Dramani Mahama of the NDC for his refusal to engage in a debate with him.
I'll see one why ya dear Chiamese, Uji win dear Brananya debate 1-on-1, then Chirebo. I'll see on back. We're Johnny to say, Akukon kitting, we're Johnny.
The MPP flag bearer is hoping to win massively in the Ashanti region to brighten his chances of securing a historic third term for the governing MPP on December 7th.
Well, let's explore this further and speak with political marketing expert Dr. Bernard Tutu Boahene for more on this. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, to start off, are you somewhat surprised at the number of days that the NPP flag bearer spent in the party stronghold? Do you foresee that this will make much of a difference, having spent 15 days campaigning in that region?
Good evening to you. Good evening to viewers. Yes, I think that I can say for a start that Ashanti region more or less has become the battleground for all the leading, political parties and their candidates. And so I am not so much surprised that the flag bearer for the MPP, is spending so much time in Ashanti region. Again, it was also a bit clear that, apathy was against the MPP in the Ashanti region. And the fact still remains that MPP cannot do below 70%. And so it is very important that the strategic team of the MPP, has identified, these two factors and have actually encouraged the flag bearer to spend more time to have interaction with the good people of Ashanti region. And so what really matters is not about the number of days we spend there, but what matters is his ability, to put up messages there that can actually convince the people of Ashanti region, to be able to overcome that inertia that is holding them, so that probably they may want to go and then vote for the NPP come, December 7th. And I also believe that his visibility, more or less, can establish some level of dialogue, which, if he's so much convincing, can also, help him, change the tide. So, for me, yes, the number of days he spends there may be good, but not a means, or let's say an end, to what he's looking for. The key thing is his campaign message for the people of Ashanti region and his ability, to commit himself to probably deliver, create that kind of perception to the people of Ashanti region that he actually deliver, their needs when he gets.
Now, you briefly highlighted the percentage of votes that the MPP is likely to garner in that region. And previously, we know that the NDC had more votes in the Ashanti region comparatively with the Volta region. Do you see this being replicated?
Your sound is a bit far off. I can't hear you clearly.
I'm asking if you see it being replicated this time around, the NDC garnering more votes in the Ashanti region as compared to Volta.
Yes, so you see that when we check, I think that the NDC is also working towards gaining a substantial share, of votes from Ashanti region. And so I think that the candidate for the NDC, the flag bearer, JDM, is also spending some time in there. We have also seen Alan also spend some time there. We have seen Cheddar also going in there. So that's why earlier on I said that Ashanti region more or less is becoming a battleground And because the vote for the Ashanti region for each of the candidates is very, very important. Unfortunately, it happens to be the stronghold of the ruling NPP. And so it means that there is more work for the NPP to be done, because you get a lot of your opponents invading your backyard. And that is something that the NPP should be worried about and should do everything possible to protect their vote and probably appreciate it. The calculation, if the NDC should move in there and get between 28-30%, that would be quite dangerous for the NPP in there. And so I think that is the reason why the NDC is also frequenting, the place, just to also gain what they are also looking for. I feel that it is a street battle between the two major political parties in the Ashanti region. And don't forget, we may want to call it outliers, but the effect of Alan Kodik, and Cheddar in our Ashanti region can, cause a lot of damage to the two major leading political parties. So I think that we have some concerns, to look at.
Now, off the back of this, recently we had the Alan Kojo Trementing react to Kufuor's former President Kufuor's backing of Bawumia as the flag bearer of the MPP. Now, do you feel like these comments being made by Trementing could affect his support somewhat in the Ashanti region?
This is the home region of Alan Kojo Trementing and the home region of ex-President Kufuor. I think that the two have been good. One being a mentor to the other, and the other being a mentee. I think that this is a family issue between the two of them, and probably the discussion will go beyond, the cameras. I feel that President Kufuor's, intention for probably, endorsing the flag bearer of the MPP is strictly tied to President Kufuor's, allegiance
with the party,
to the MPP, but not really Bawumia as being a son or something. We all know the history between President Kufuor and Alan Kojo Trementing in Ghana, all right? And I show that the difficulty with this narrative and the response to ex-President Kufuor, from Honorable Alan Trementing is probably not against ex-President Kufuor, but probably he also disabused the mind of people that yes, I am related to him. He could have given me the endorsement, but unfortunately it has gone, the other way around. But who doesn't know that President Kufuor is related to Alan? And who doesn't know that President Kufuor also has a deep tie with the MPP? All right. So for me, it is like staying between, the devil and the deep blue sea. Right? The choice is always complicated. But I think that Ghanaians probably would have, attacked President Kufuor even more if he had said anything probably against, his own party. All right? And we know that it is a party that brought him to power.
Absolutely.
We know that he is a campaign advisor, to the Bawumia campaign. And we also know that he remains a living legend of the NPP and Ghanaian politics. So, whatever he does may go beyond family ties, may go beyond relations, and probably look at the party, first before any other relations will come in. So I would say that it is a difficult, position that ex-President Kufuor has taken. But, I mean...
He has no choice, you're saying. He has no other choice but to go to support the flag bearer of the party.
Could have attracted, comments. And moving to the right could have also attracted comments. Staying in between, may not be that desirable, for his party. All right? So these are complicated issues that I feel that maybe discussions will need to be looked at, going forward.
We'd have to draw the curtains here. Thank you for your time this evening. Dr. Boahin, a political marketing expert, joining us on that issue. Now, Chairman of the Election Security Task Force and the IGP, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, has announced a plan to streamline security arrangements for coalition centers during the 2024 general elections. According to the IGP, only accredited individuals will be allowed access to such centers. The development follows the death of 8 persons during the 2020 elections, mostly due to chaos at the coalition center. Now, speaking during a meeting with the leaders of CSOs at the police headquarters, Dr. Dampare revealed engagements are ongoing with the EC towards implementation of the plan. The IGP also warned that troublemakers will be dealt with ruthlessly. He further served notice to some political actors who have been declared wanted but not yet arrested will definitely be made to face the music one way or the other.
Currently working with the EC to come out with standard coalition centers in a way that security will be paramount, such that at the end of the day, these difficulties that we have, where you go to coalition center and it's free for all, where you go to coalition center and so disorganized and everybody wants the attention of the other and we don't know whom to attend to, will stop. So we are finalizing it. But to give you a gist of it, is the fact that most of these coalition centers are going to be in a fence wall environment with a gate, where invitation, where entrance to the place will be by people who are supposed to be there, the media, civil society, observers, party persons, candidates, their agents, and everybody who's supposed to be where he's supposed to be will be the people who have access into the compound of that fence wall environment. Then within that fence wall environment, the facility that will be used also is having an enclosed with doors whereby another set of people who qualify to be there, making sure that everybody who's supposed to be there also there will be the people who will be also allowed to enter there, and together with the media, the party candidates, their agents, observers, everybody, so that the transparency will be there for everybody to know. In effect, it is being handled along the same lines how the national presidential election is collated at the EC office, where all the people who matter are at the office and it's not open in a park, whereby when people feel uncomfortable and they know they are losing, they charge their supporters to do things that affect the law. We are not going to do that this time around.
Now, with just 18 days, the 2024 general elections, we remain your election hub. You're watching News Tonight. Do stay with us. We bring you more news shortly.
Dr. Baumian once said,
The economy is going.
You're welcome back to News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Now, vehicle users who ply the Spintex East Legon and Teshi roads can now heave a sigh of relief as President Akufo-Addo has commissioned the Flower Pot Interchange. The over 285 million cedis project is expected to ease heavy traffic congestion, making it easier for commuters who use the Tema, Spintex and East Legon areas. There's more in this report.
The Flower Pot Interchange is a two-tier structure featuring north-south flyover connecting the Bemmakam bypass to Boundary Road and redesigned roundabouts to optimize traffic flow. For years, the Flower Pot roundabout was notorious for its overwhelming congestion, with peak traffic exceeding 5,000 vehicles per hour. The completion of this project provides a long-awaited solution to the persistent problem. The project started in 2016 under the then John Mahama-led administration. Speaking during the ceremony here in Accra, President Akufo-Addo made a clarion call on the commuters and motorists to be cautious and join hands in safeguarding the access, ensuring that it serves its purpose for the long term.
Let us remember, this project is one among many. From the northern savannas to the southern coastline, and from east to west, we're building a new Ghana, one where roads, bridges, schools and hospitals rise as symbols of a nation that works for everyone.
President Akufo-Addo also added that his administration has completed more interchanges, roads and bridges than any other administration under the Fourth Republic, which he says is his government's commitment to the road sector.
It's fitting then to acknowledge that this administration has constructed more roads and interchanges than any other in our nation's history. In the Greater Accra region alone, we have completed the Pokwase Interchange, Tema Motorway Interchange Phase 1, Obetebelante Interchange Phase 1, the East Legon Underpass, and today, this Flower Pot Interchange. Flower Pot Interchange is a legacy for future generations. I call on the Ministry of Roads and Highways, the newly established National Roads Authority, traditional rulers, commuters, and indeed all Ghanaians to join hands in safeguarding this asset, ensuring that it serves its purpose for the long term.
On his part, the Minister for Road and Highways, who also serves as MP for Bantama constituency, Francis Asenso-Boachi, says the project will enhance economic activities and provide safer routes in the area.
Mr. President, we mark another significant milestone in the government's commitment to improving road infrastructure across the country. I am proud to be part of this bold solution, which should greatly enhance mobility and improve the quality of life for residents and travelers alike.
In some more news this evening, the president of the Ga Traditional Council, Ni Taki Teko True II, has appealed to all political parties in Ghana to commit to peace before, during and after the upcoming elections. Speaking passionately, the Ga Manche emphasized that Ghana has an opportunity to showcase to the world that its democracy thrives on dialogue, mutual respect and unity. He affirmed that sustainable peace is not just a dream, but as an achievable reality if all stakeholders uphold these principles. He made the call during the launch of the Blueprints for Global Sustainable Peace.
In a bold step towards promoting peace during Ghana's upcoming elections and beyond, the Center of Awareness Global Peace Mission, in collaboration with the National Peace Council, has launched the Blueprint for Global Sustainable Peace. The initiative, spearheaded by Professor Samuel Ato Duncan, aims to foster harmony not just in Ghana but across the globe. The high-profile event drew prominent figures from the political, traditional, religious and entertainment sectors alongside an enthusiastic public turnout. Attendees were given a platform to advocate for Ghana to uphold its legacy of peace before, during and after the polls.
We know why there's no peace on earth. When I started peace. The answer came. The reason why there's no peace on earth is that God created man as the most precious assets, and man has diverted the love of humanity rather to the love of material world.
Director of Training of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Siribu Akwaku, emphasized that achieving free and fair elections requires the commitment of all stakeholders.
And you cannot talk of free election without talk about the involvement of the various stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders of an election? Stakeholders are those whose action affect or are affected by the election. So if you are here or you are listening to me and your action can affect election or your action can be affected by election, then you are a stakeholder.
The president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Kwabena Dumfo, emphasized the critical need to safeguard the press, asserting that sustainable peace is unattainable without the safety and freedom of journalists.
The safety of journalists is my priority, especially going into the December 7th elections. As you may be aware, Ghana is at a critical juncture in its democratic journey, where we are all preparing for the 2024 election. And how we to discuss the ongoing political campaigns and the current political climate in the country, as we are all actively observing the unfolding event. However, we hope to enter the elections with no record of attacks on journalists.
The blueprint for global sustainable peace sets the stage for a unified approach to maintaining harmony as Ghana heads to the polls, with calls for fairness, accountability, and press freedom resonating through the event. Stakeholders left with a renewed commitment to safeguarding peace for future generations.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. We bring you business news next. Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body is appealing to the government to reduce the interest rates on loans for farmers from 30% to a single-digit figure. The group also urged Ghanaians to patronize locally produced rice during the upcoming Christmas festivities.
The Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body, in partnership with Cali Ghana, has signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at increasing rice production in Ghana. The agreement seeks to enhance professional standards in the rice farming sector, boosting both the quantity and quality of rice produced annually. The president of the Ghana Rice Interprofessional Board, Nana Ajay Aye II, expressed concern over Ghana's inability to produce enough rice to meet local demand and reduce reliance on imports.
Advise or plead with consumers of rice in Ghana to look at the Ghana rice. We have come a long way from 10 years ago to now. Our grains has improved. We know cost of production here in Ghana is very expensive. That is why in certain areas we realize that our Ghana rice is a little bit higher than the imported rice. But I don't want people to sit home and say that Ghana rice is expensive. It is not true.
Managing Director of Cali Ghana, Bernard Kutu, reaffirmed the company's commitment to supporting farmers. He highlighted plans to provide free agricultural inputs and chemicals to help increase productivity.
When we interacted with them, we saw that one of their challenges was access to inputs. So as a business from last year, we thought it wise to come closer to BRIC, provide them the right input to ensure that their farmers can increase productivity, to shore up the rice deficit we have in the country.
The partnership between the Rice Interprofessional Body and Cali Ghana includes training farmers in modernized farming techniques to further enhance the quality and quantity of locally produced rice.
Well, that's all the business news we've got for you this evening. Do stay with us on News Tonight. Sports News is up shortly. He is in studio with the very latest from the world of sports. Monica, what's it looking like in sports?
Well, Natalie, GHOne has shared his thoughts on Ghana's failure to qualify for AFCON. Also coming up, Otuado has called for peaceful election as Ghana heads to the polls. I've got details of all these coming up shortly. Do stay. Flag bearer for National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has described the Black Stars' recent failure to qualify for Africa Cup of Nations AFCON as a significant embarrassment to the nation. Speaking at a rally during his ongoing tour of the Eastern region, Mahama expressed his disappointment with the national football team's performance, emphasizing the embarrassing nature of the current stage of the Black Stars.
Mese Nana, every Yesika Sem ye bibia say. Nanu Black Stars. Black Stars. Yankwade your mobile football. 20 years and ne Afibia ye African Cup of Nations are your call. Emre be African Cup of Nations ye call. And so Afi de Black Stars Atetia Pansang. Ezu, when they decline in 20 years, a Black Stars among called African Cup of Nations. Abeye Ningwasia Mai. If it's a cane, Osha Black Stars, yet me call finals. Cap no any teaming fight every 1981. And so your ball bono na encrofe ni jeho. So I fed there, ya san. Obiaba etimi beshe. Ezu. Nina eye senya bibia say woman mu eno na actually Black Stars sponsor.
Now, Black Stars head coach Otuado has called for peaceful election as Ghana nears the polls in December. Addressing the media in his post-match press conference after Ghana's 2-1 defeat to Niger, Otuado urged the media to use their influence responsibly in shaping narratives around Ghana's football, particularly during this challenging period.
Before I finish, I know a lot of questions will come. I would like us to use this opportunity to pray for peaceful elections. I don't want this football game to have an effect on this. It's very, very important. We have a peaceful country. We should leave it like that, no matter the outcome. And then surely, let's pray for peace in Niger and pray for peace in Sudan.
And that's all for now. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Natalie.
Well, Monica, thank you so much for the sports news. Not a very good time for the Black Stars, it appears, but thank you for the sports segment there. And that's how we draw the curtains on News Tonight this evening. Thank you so much for making the time. I'm Natalie Forts. The bulletin was produced by my colleague Musa Lansa and directed by Na. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.